I want to speak directly to the nannies that are listening. If you've ever walked into a home on your first day or you quietly thought, I hope I'm enough for this family, or if you've ever stayed late, not because you had to, but because you cared, or if you've ever wondered, like, whether this work could really be a respected long-term career. This conversation is for you because today I'm sitting with someone whose journey hopefully is going to answer those questions without ever having to say it out loud. And Brittany Drew, welcome. I am genuinely so glad that you're here.
I'm very glad to be here. Thanks for having me here.
For anyone listening who may not know who she is, I want to take a minute to share with you who she is because, you know, Brittany, I feel like your background is so important. You're the 2025 INA Nanny of the Year.
Thank you.
You're, of course, CPR certified newborn care specialist. You're also a holistic sleep consultant. You're an agency owner and the founder of United Nanny Society.
Yeah, a lot of things.
I know you spent over 12 years in this field and not just doing the work, but shaping how people understand it. And what I love so much is that none of those titles come from chasing recognition. They really come from showing up again and again. So before we talk about awards and leadership, I just want to start at the very beginning with you. When you really look back at the very beginning of your nanny career, what made you choose this work? And I'm not saying like, give us the really polished version. Give us the real moments when you realize this is what I'm meant to do.
So, long story. I actually have my degrees in physics and applied mathematics. I started out my college career wanting to be an electrical engineer like my dad, and work on medical equipment for pediatrics, and really work on like cancer treatments for them using electrical engineering.
Wow.
And things kind of shifted, and then I was like, no, I'll go into physics. And then I went into medical physics, which again, I wanted to focus on pediatrics in medical physics. And for those who don't know what medical physics is, it's basically radiation therapy. You're doing all those kinds of things. A tumor goes on a CT scan, you're like scanning it and figuring out how to do it all. I really wanted to work on that for pediatrics. Unfortunately, you can't pick and choose in that field what you work on. It's kind of who will hire you, because it's such a niche field. So I decided to go into secondary education. And so I started my master's in secondary education for math, and for science. And then I realized that I don't like the politics of teaching. Love teaching, hate the politics of it. But this whole time I was always working with kids. So I always had like a job at the YMCA. I did their camps. When I was at Georgia Tech for my medical physics master's, I found the only recreational camp on campus, and I became assistant director for them, which as a student you're technically not allowed to do, but they got special permission because of my background in childcare, because not many people there have a background in childcare. So I just always had a job with kids. I never went away from it. I always had it. And then when I was doing my master's in teaching, I was nannying full time as well. That was my first ever like official over the age of 18 nanny job. I had one in high school, but that was my first one. And I loved it. And my degree, I was like, I'm not really liking the politics of teaching. So I had a family and I was like, you know what? Like, I will take the summer. I will like dive deep into this, and see what I want to do. And 2 weeks into summer, I unenrolled my master's and I haven't looked back since. I kind of just always was with kids, and it just kind of led there. I really like that even though I have my education other ways, I really chose this field. It wasn't something I just did. I did a very long around way to choose to be a nanny. And then here I am now, deeper and deeper into, NCS and holistic sleep consultant. I've been debating being a postpartum doula. Like, there's just so many things now that I just kind of kept going with.
Yeah, I love that you shared that. And I feel like what really stands out isn't just the choice that you made, but it's that moment of trusting yourself when you didn't have all the answers yet. And I think so many nannies listening right now, they feel that. It's that quiet inner yes that you make before anything around you makes sense or anyone else really understands it. And
Yeah.
something I'm always so curious about with professionals like you is what is something about you as a nanny that families never really see, but that like shapes how you show up every single day for them?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty much of an open book on the surface. Probably, I mean, that's hard. I feel like a lot of it's just my passion. Like when I have my nanny jobs, and something I guess I tell parents, but they probably don't see is there's very few days I don't want to go to work. Even on the toughest days with the toughest children, there's never been a day where I'm like, oh, I really don't want to go because I don't want to be there. Like, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I want to go because I don't feel good or something like that, or I'm tired, but it's never because of the kids or the job.
Yeah.
I always want to go, and that's also how I knew I love this field because I'm like, even though it's hard, and yesterday was horrible because this child was like anywhere and everywhere, like clawing at me. I'm like, I still want to get up and go today. Like, I want to do it again. I don't know if that's a good thing or mentally bad, but I'm like, I still
No.
want to go. So I think that's one of the biggest things is that families don't see is like even on hard days, I still want to go the next day. I still want to be there, which is very rare in a job. I feel like for most people, of wanting to be there even on the hard days.
Yeah, I think that's such an important insight. And I think it really explains why families they feel a shift when someone like you comes into their home. It isn't about like a method or a checklist. Like it's your drive,
Yeah.
but it's how you show up, and that's the part that people can't always put into words, but they feel it right away. And I completely agree that I was a nanny as well, and I always wanted to go to work. I mean, I fell in love with my nanny kids, so I get that wholeheartedly. Was there a moment in your career where you realized this wasn't just a job anymore for you? It like where it shifted into something so much deeper, more intentional for you?
Um, I mean, I always had that situation where, like I said, like I really enjoyed it. So like I gave up school and the couple of nanny jobs after that, like I really enjoyed and I was like, oh, I could do this forever. Like this is something I could do. But I think what really shifted is when I actually moved back to Atlanta. So I've gone back and forth between Atlanta and Pittsburgh a couple of
Mhm.
times now. But when I came back to Pittsburgh, that's when I got my nanny job. Then I moved back to Atlanta and I had a family there and I started doing nights as well. And I was like, oh, I really like this. Like it's been a couple years now. Like I really enjoyed this. I want to do this. I love the nights. I was really at that point had enough knowledge into childcare where I was actually helping parents learn. And I think that's what really drew me to be like, oh, I want to do this because not only was I impacting the kids, but I was impacting the parents and giving them a sense of being able to help their child, of confidence, of doing something. And that's what really, I think, hooked me in is all the helping with them too.
Yeah. And I feel like that matters so much. It's so much bigger than it sounds. I think it's when you stop asking everyone else if you're doing it right or for their approval and
Yeah.
something that finally goes like, "Oh, yeah. I trust me." And that's the confidence or that's I feel like when confidence really stops being borrowed and it starts being real and honestly, like that's when people change and their careers follows and like just the love that you have for your kids, it just shows
Oh,
up.
yeah.
So,
It changed everything. And I think I also thought of it as like, not only am I here like helping this one child, but I'm helping the parents. Am I
mhm.
doing that? Like their friends saying, oh, well, what did you do with your kid? And then like, oh, well, I did this. So like, not only now am I only helping the kids I'm nannying, I'm helping all the other kids that ever come in contact with that family because that family's telling them, oh, we did this and it was amazing and I learned this, like do this. So my impact grew and I that's really when I was like, I really like doing this because I'm impacting so many children and families like even across the country or the world if they have friends anywhere else like they can be like, yeah, we did this, we did that, I learned this. So it's just really cool feeling.
Yeah, that is incredible. You're amazing. So becoming the INA Nanny of the Year is such an incredible honor, and I am so interested in the journey behind it. What did that recognition really represent to you personally?
So It's a funny thing of how it came about. So, Jess, my nominator, her and I have actually never met in person. Hoping to change that this year.
Yes.
She's actually lives where I grew up, which was kind of cool. But we connected, I think something with that, and I don't even remember, but we like talked on and off for I feel like a year and a half about contracts and stuff like that. And she was like, "Oh, well, what do you think about this?" And I was like, "Oh, what do you think about that?" And we just kind of collaborate a little bit and kind of helped each other and just kind of talked industry stuff and standards and creating the industry better. And then one day I get a message from her and she was like, "Can I nominate you for this?" I was like, "Sure, what is it?" "Sure, like,
Yeah.
I don't know." "Cool." She's like, "Oh, it's this, blah, blah, like, I just want to make sure you're okay with it." I was like, "That's fine." I was like, "Cool, like, let me look into this." So it was really cool that like it wasn't even someone that like I'm best friends with or
Yeah.
family I worked for. It's someone that I've just like casually talked with that was like, "Hey, like she's like I made that much of an impact that she was like, oh, I've never met you, but like you should do this. Like you have this kind of quality for this award." So it was really flattering. The process was hard. It was very grueling, a lot of work, a lot of unknowns. But in the end, it's amazing. I think for me personally, it just was like, I won't say validation because I know, like, I know what I know. But it really just kind of opened up the ability to do things like this of people to say, "Oh, she's not just some random nanny in Pittsburgh. Like, she knows what she's talking about," and like take that seriously. I've been able to help so many more nannies now, not just the nannies in my little cluster, Pittsburgh or or of Atlanta. Like I've had nannies reach out from everywhere. I helped through a table at Nanny Palooza, possibly speaking at INA, speaking at other training days for National Training Day this year. Like I feel like it's made my impact so much more, and it just brings my love for this profession more. I like what I do. Don't get me wrong, but I also love the advocacy part. I like being out there teaching, helping people. All my letters of recommendations, I had a couple of them from nannies, not just from like families and stuff, and like reading them like brought me to tears of like, "Oh, well, she really helped me, get my worth and get this contract." And I was like, I knew I helped, but like I didn't realize I helped that much. So it's just amazing to see everything that I've helped people and being able to impact their lives. Again, not just a single person, but I'm able to help everyone, including with my standard contract that I send out for free. Like it's just gotten so much more visibility because of that, which just means it can help so many more people. Yeah, which I really like.
I think that that is such a beautiful way to put it. I want nannies also listening this to hear that so clearly, because recognition doesn't come from being perfect. It really comes from being consistent and being thoughtful and so deeply invested into this industry and our community. And that is what is so important. Just that we all stick together, that we all help each other, that we all learn from one another and educate when we can. So thank you for that. I really appreciate you sharing that. I always say, like, this work, it asks a lot of us emotionally. But what is a moment with a child or with a family that you feel like still lives with you? Like one that really shaped how you see this profession or really see yourself?
Never see myself in the profession, but I always tell this one all the time. It's one of my favorites. Is I was nannying with a family, and I had a co-nanny at the time, and we had a little one who was a little bit delayed, and it was summertime, but you have to pass the swim test in order to go down the water slide. And he really wanted to go down this water slide, and it was like a whole big thing, but like we weren't quite sure if he was going to conceptualize the fact that he had to like jump in a lap lane and swim the length of the pool like without stopping and playing or like us in there with him. So we like worked really hard. Like the co-nanny made like these social stories for him, and like we really worked on like getting him through and teaching him like just keep going kind of thing. And then the one day we did the test and he did it, and he just like doggy paddled along because he's like doesn't know why I'm standing outside the pool and like people are looking at him, and he's just like, okay. And I'm like, keep going, keep going. And then when he finally touched that end, I remember I like took him and just like jumped him out of the pool and like hugged him and was like, you did it. And he's like, I can go on the slide. I was like, yes, you can, buddy. You can go on the slide. Let's go get your wristband. And that kid went on that slide like 5 times in a row. I just love that because it was something that me and my co-nanny, like, we worked really hard to get him to do that, to be able to enjoy something. And so like we changed his life that summer because he finally got to go down that water slide and he was so excited for it. Now a month later, he not wanted nothing to do with the water slide, but for that month, he loved it. And me and her were so proud of him. And I just remember like finally watching his hand hit that end of the pool, and I was like, "You did it!"
Aw, I'm sure he was so proud of himself.
Yes, and we jumped up and down. I looked like a lunatic at this pool. People were looking at me, but I was like, "You did it! You did it!" And way over dramatic I needed to be, but it was so exciting to see him finally do it. Be able to get his wristband to go on the water slide.
Oh, that's a sweet story. Well, thank you for sharing that. I feel like those moments, they never leave us, do they?
And they never do. It's like I think been asked the question similarly like multiple times the past couple of years. That's always my answer. Like I love that, and I just always see his face in my mind.
Yep. That's the reason that this work stays with people so much longer than after a placement ends. And for nannies listening who are really early in their careers and wondering what really matters, what would you want them to focus on? Not everything, just one thing that you believe makes the biggest difference.
Uh, ooh, only one thing. I would say your connection with the kids is what's important. It's also what's going to hurt you the most when you leave is that connection, but it's what's most important. At the end of the day, you know, anyone can teach ABCs, colors, one, two, threes, but not everyone can connect with a child on a level where they feel like they can come to you and like you're a safe person. So being that safe person for a child, even a baby, I mean, they still feel safe with you. You're still a caretaker in their life. You know, they don't like just anyone. So even if they can't like vocally tell you, oh, like, you know, I had this happen to me today, like it still matters even with small children. That connection is what's really going to elevate your career and really show families you love what you do because like you mentioned earlier, no one's perfect. We all make mistakes. I've made mistakes. I'm gonna make more mistakes. Like it's just what happens. But what helps families get over those mistakes is how much you care for their kids and how much you want to be a part of their lives. And I know it's not always possible forever, but like that connection is what's really going to help you and put your instincts too. Like you're going to have gut feelings because you know those kids, and that's going to help your decision making. So just making those connections, I think, is what's the most important of all.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And that is such grounded advice. And it's exactly what we look for when we're placing professionals with families. It's that quiet self respect paired with care. Um, yeah, that's great. And for the nannies that are listening who have been doing this for years, who love the work that they do, but they want to grow in their career, what would you say to them or what advice would you give to them?
I would say networking, first of all. Networking is a huge thing. It's so important to have your own village. You can be the best nanny in the world, but if an issue comes about and you don't have people to fall on to be like, hey, what do I do? Like, you're never going to grow. You need knowledge, you need people, you need differing opinions, you need people that you can talk to. So, building that village of nannies, of agency owners you can talk to, people just in the industry that can give you knowledge and give you advice, and you can also help them too as well, is really going to push you further in the career because it's going to open more opportunities. And besides that, just give you more knowledge. There's only so much knowledge you can learn from a course. There's only so much knowledge you can read in a book. You need firsthand knowledge of people, and you need that village behind you. Just like families hire you to be their village, you need a village behind you too. Everyone needs a village, and you can't do this career by yourself. It's too personal, it's too intimate. Like you can't just be just you. You need people to rely on. That way you can show up for your job.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I love how you framed that. I think that growth doesn't always mean doing more because sometimes people think they just have to do more. They just have to do more and then they'll get a better job and then they'll get a higher pay. Sometimes it means choosing differently, and that's choosing community and
Yeah.
choosing networking, and I think that that is so powerful.
Yeah, because also then you get less burnout too. And if you're
Mhm.
less burned out, you're not showing up to families' homes tired, like you're able to show up more and just vent too. I mean, this career is hard. We don't have coworkers. Our coworkers sometimes can't even speak a full sentence. So having that outlet to talk to people and get out all that venting is super important to be able to show back up for those kids because that's why we do what we do. We do it because we love the kids and they deserve our best.
Mhm.
And we only can be our best with support.
That's right. I agree. When you think about the legacy that you're building in this field, what do you really hope that people feel when they work with you or learn from you?
Confidence is my biggest one because I feel like for me, going through the beginnings of this career, and this was back in like, 2016, 2017 timeframe where it was a career, but like it wasn't, I feel like as widely as a career it is
Yeah.
now. Um, there was no help. The agencies didn't help very much. It was like, oh, this is what you do. That's it. Like there was no explanation.
Hmm.
I didn't really know. I just kind of did it and learned it on my own. So I really want to help people not have to sit there at 2 a.m. searching the internet for hours of like, I need a contractor. What do I ask for benefits? Like, just ask. I want to instill that confidence so they know what they need to do and what they can do. Because again, I feel like confidence is going to make it better for the kids if you come in confident to a job and you enjoy your job. Because if you're at a job where you're underpaid or no benefits, like you don't want to be there. I wouldn't want to be there either. So it's important to get your worth and have the confidence to ask for it in order to love what you do. Um, so yeah, I just kind of want to make confidence in industry and get people the benefits and pay they deserve with the correct contracts so they can all really enjoy. Like with my agency, when I place, I'm always telling people, I'm like, I don't want to place a name somewhere where they think, oh, I'm just here for a job. Like I'm just
Hmm.
here for today. I want to look for people that are going in the job and loving it the way I love it. Like I want families to feel that love from the nanny on their children. Um, yeah, I just and that takes confidence. So I really want to
Yeah.
hope and give confidence to people so they can
Yeah.
love what they do.
Yeah, that says everything. And it's exactly why conversations like this, they matter so much.
They do.
Well, Brittany, thank you for trusting us with your story. Your journey reminds people that this profession can be built with intention, but also dignity and so much heart. So, as for every nanny listening who wonders if there's space to grow, to be seen, to be respected, your story quietly answers that question. So, I really appreciate it. And this is exactly the kind of conversation that we want to create through the Pink Nannies platform. It's real, it's thoughtful, and it's deeply human. So thank you for being here.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, I really enjoyed it, but I hope you have a wonderful day and you stay healthy because I know right now that there is some wild viruses going on in the world.
Yes.
So, all right,
Definitely.
well, you have a lovely day and I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.